very, very keenly that I am the only unbought and unbossed politician. Why should I step back?
This is UNBOUGHT Power Hour with Rashida.
Hey, how are you? Oh, yes, I have. Where'd you get that one from? You know, somebody sent us like a ton of those. I think it is an actual website, but they sent it to my office.
That's so funny. And
It's funny because some of the people that were not happy with what I said sent me bars of soap, which was very interesting. No,
wow.
Yeah. I don't know what we ever did with those. Yeah, people like actually took time to wrap bars of soap, Russia, to mail to my, to shut me up. How are you?
Soap can go a long way for folks that need it, but hey.
Yeah.
We're all about hygiene, so. Hi, Sabah.
Hi.
How are you?
So I've been seeing that you've been doing these, and I'm like, she didn't ask me.
Oh,
and then
I wanted to
I know. I've been trying. I put makeup on a lot more now to make me look more alive. But you know what? It's been, I think for so many of us activists, no matter if we're Congress members or, even some of my friends who are activists, but they're doctors. I mean, all of us are just, you feel a bit just helpless and beat up. And so it could be really overwhelming. And it's almost like, even though it's emotional, it's physically, you feel like you have to just knock down, But no, alhamdulillah, like today I went to a local church they were having like a back to school thing. It was beautiful. Sometimes even though we're both Muslimin, like if I'm even among some of my neighbors who are worshiping, it was very powerful. Of course I cry. It was just very powerful. Like, no one, as long as we have God, like no one, it just felt so powerful you felt like there's this belief, and it's a real, and we feel it, right? When we're thinking, everything for Eid Allah, right? Everything's in God's hands. But yeah, no, it was very beautifully done. And, but no, it's nice. How are you, Rasha? How are you doing?
I want to hug you through the phone.
I know. I miss hugs. I miss hugs so much. Girl,
we like all this pain and we can't even hug, and it's real.
Yeah.
So, I definitely miss your hugs, but you look fresh.
Yeah. It's called makeup, girl. It's called makeup.
No,
you think I'm joking? No, because I get the text message from you like, Rashida, you okay? Because you could tell. There are some people on my team can tell, and you're one of them. It's hard because I'm trying not to read everything, but it's hard. It's in your face. You want to read. Yeah. Like we're going to get the haters now. Like you'll see. I don't care. Those are the ones that are just, but when you have actual like media outlets saying stuff, I don't know, Russia, I'm just like, oh my God, like who's going to speak the truth? Like who's going to talk about, yeah, I know.
You and now Cori Bush, like this is huge, right?
Have you talked to her? She's awesome, Russia. Like I'm excited about her. Russia, I get this. Look, I get this. This cat comes to my porch, and he wants to. He just wants to come inside my house. He stands by the door, and he wants to come in every single time.
Also smells justice.
Well, he's the cutest little thing. I mean, he just sits there. Look at him.
Oh my God. It's a little bit chubby too.
Yeah, no, he's very friendly.
I was on a webinar recently. You'd be proud. It was about like how do we rest in this movement, and Dr. Jennifer Mullen said we feel unsafe to stop. And that, like, I've been carrying that all week, and I feel like that's so real because I was telling people, like, especially like Black people, brown people, and Palestinian people, it's like we don't know how to stop, right? Because there's never a feeling of security or a moment of security. I think I think that's something that we all feel. So like, what
Yeah.
is it that, why do you feel like you can't rest? And what is it that you do? I think
I
people need
don't.
to know, like, we want to see
I
you
know,
rest.
Russia. Like, I want to rest, but you know, one of the things that, you know, was it one of the things to know? Like, I love that you said that, because one thing that kind of stuck at me, and it was actually at orientation. I can't remember who the speaker was, but they said something about sometimes the people that are broken, the brokenness inside of us is what keeps us going, and that actually keeps us like close to the pain and also close to understanding that sense of urgency, is because we've been broken a little bit, right? Even as Palestinian women out there, even from our own community, from our external the community, no matter, it's like, you know, our styles are policed, what we say is policed, and you know, all these things. And then, you know, we're othered in spaces, or we're used. Like, we're put in spaces to be like, let's sprinkle a little bit of diversity and let's put this person here. But I think for me and for so much of the work I'm doing, I mean, I'm so blessed to be in a city that, like, I don't know, I just rejuvenates me. Like, even just now, going, you know, I kind of slumped and was going, okay, I'm going to go to Soul Harvest Ministries in Highland Park, which has been hit hard by COVID, and come out and support. They've been just incredible, you know, making sure people have access to free testing. And they've been doing, you know, but they've been showing up for the neighbors. Yeah. They've been showing up for community. And I'm getting there and I'm just like that. And then the music started. And then you could feel like, you know, no matter, because it's like, I don't know if it was, I read something about the heritage of our country. It is part of our heritage that we beat and kill black bodies. And I was just like, you know, and it's like true. And then you just, and then I'm sitting in this space just now of like, you know, this higher connection and at that moment to God, but like there's something much stronger out there that is really driving this, that you, if you, and just the strong faith in that, Russia, like alhamdulillah, like I'm like, like,
there's this power in pain.
Yeah.
Especially this work towards collective liberation. So everybody knows that we won, that you won, and I think okay, I have to say
we won.
Is one of my clients at Unbought Power, and she makes it easy to be working in unbought spaces. Russia's underestimated. This girl knows I hate call time. And her ass will call me, and three-way donors, like, hold on, Rashida, click. And I'm like, she is doing it. And she knows, even though, you know, I don't have to do much. You know, I got a lot of grassroots support, but, you know, we need to follow up a lot on folks to help with, you know, our PP, you know, raising money for nonprofits and things like that. And so, yeah, Russia will call people three-way. Just to make sure I do it. She's so funny. She's like, I got the Congresswoman on the call. Hold on, click. And I'm like, ah! And I think it's important. A lot of it is grassroots. Our average donation is $25, right? Like, that's huge. And I think a lot of people,
I love that.
You, because you've invested in the people. You are called the people's Congresswoman for a reason. And I kind of want you to talk about, like, what it's been like to be unbought, and how it's channeling our Shirley Chisholm and the Black and brown women that came before us, and how, because it's a lot of times people will say, just, you know, for this one issue, just leave this person behind or this community. And you have always been adamant. I mean, I've seen you, people see you like on the forefront, but like what's amazing about you, Rashida, is that you are consistent. Like, if it's around PPE, you will be on the phone making sure that person in your district gets PPE. Whatever it is, doesn't matter how minimal it looks to someone else, it is a big deal for you if it makes that impact. So how has it been being unbought, and how do you continue to choose to be unbought, right? Like, you're not taking corporate money, you're not forfeiting your values. I mean, that tweet the other day when you were talking about this isn't reform, right? Like, handcuffing a person that was shot by police, and they're still criminalizing him on his hospital bed. Like, you are
for a system to have that much power,
Right.
is just unbelievable. Like the shackling, the murder, everything. But I think, you know, Russia, like it's really hard to explain, but it's everything from my roots, right? Being the eldest of 14, growing up, you know, with the Palestinian immigrant parents, you know how it was.
Yeah.
And all of that, and growing up in this, you know, beautiful black city. I just think all of that combined has created these like roots in me that this is natural for, it's just like there is no other choice, if that makes any sense. And I know, you know, many of my colleagues, very well intended, you know, it is hard. And I think a lot of my sisters in service, we talk about this of almost like trying to mold us into, almost beat it out of us and mold us into this, whatever these stereotypical, I don't know what you want to call it, ways of doing public service in Congress. You know, it be much due to the fact that I stay connected to the ground, and it has been, you know, I've been watching, you know, so much of the movement work and trying to support in any way possible. On you?
You froze on me. Sorry.
Okay. No, I was just saying that I just don't feel like I have any other choice but be the way I am now and not waver.
So what is it that like keeps you going to like, because it could be lonely, right? Like,
oh, it is.
You know?
Okay, yeah, it is very lonely. I think I do think it's the neighborhood service centers. It's the one case that we might get resolved. You know, maybe a resident, like the other day, we helped a mother who's been fighting to end mass incarceration. Her son, she truly believes, was wrongfully convicted, and she's been fighting, like, you know, mad out there in the streets for him. And we just helped her with the board, you know, the parole board, and her son's going to be released in January. And it's those moments of, you know, like, I mean, I teared up when I saw my team message me and said, Rashida, guess what? Her son's going to be released in January. And I just, you know, just thinking as a mother of 2 boys, just imagining. And, you know, she keeps saying in her testimony, Russia, she constantly says, you know, I never thought, you know, you see the headlines, you hear people talk about it. And then when it happens to you, you're just like, oh my God, everything everybody's been saying is real. You know, this is a black mother who, you know, is just like, my kid didn't do this. And she hears about all of the like wrongful convictions of so many people, and boom, it happened to her. And she's just like, she won't stop fighting. She even said in the email to us, you know, doesn't matter, he's going to get out, but I'm going to still continue to fight for other mothers so they don't go through what she did. It's very painful, but to me, that's what keeps me going. And I think the residents don't even realize that they are doing it, right? They don't even realize how much it means to me. So it means to all of us, really, that they have the strength to keep going. They're fighting. They give credibility, and they give that sense of urgency. So.
Wow.
I'm trying to get closer to the internet, if that helps.
Am I frozen? Am I blurry, or what's going on?
You're frozen. You're frozen.
How about now?
Still. But I don't know. I see myself moving, but you're not moving.
Wait, that's not me. God.
What's not you?
Well, I
okay.
keep looking at the camera. Is it me now still?
Yeah, you're still frozen. Am I frozen? I don't even know. Am I frozen?
No, everybody's saying it's me. It's me.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Yeah. I don't know. You know me and technology.
Someone
I bought this. Oh, is some hater or something? No. Usually it's. I'm surprised there's not like more pigs or something. They do that weird thing where I have this really cool poster that I got and I framed. I really love this poster. Isn't this a beautiful poster? Hold on. Let me see. Isn't that pretty?
Oh my God. I have my sweater like that. That's a famous poster.
Yeah, I love that poster.
Where did you get it from?
Online. I can't remember. I think it might have been, I don't know. I don't like promoting websites. I'll tell you offline. Well, because I feel like, is that like, you know, people are like, Rashida said that website, and then something happens, and like, you told me to go to that website. It's a very popular website. I think it's, what do they call it? Etsy?
Oh, yeah. That's fine. That's just like that's like a mall. There's like different.
Okay. I don't know. I saw it there and I loved it, so I ordered it.
Do I look frozen to you still, Rashida?
Yeah. I mean, you can still ask me questions. You're still frozen. So, Russia, you got to tell people the background about this. Okay. So, if you saw the documentary, I was in a documentary with some incredible other women: Stacey Abrams, Lucy Macbeth, Veronica Escobar, and all these other incredible women are running for office. Maria, everybody, and in the documentary called "And She Could Be Next," and it aired on PBS. I think you might be able to go to the website anyway. So, in there. And I told Russia, you got to watch it. There's a scene, because it was after the Ramadan holiday. It was Eid. And we were at my brother's house. And it was right before the 2018 election. And I had a brother named Rashad. So there's Rashid, and Rashida in my family.
Which is
7 boys.
When I'm like, Russia over here.
I know. But
Wait,
also,
I you are. People are wondering what number you are at 14 out of 14.
Oh, I'm the eldest. Eldest. Yeah, I'm the eldest. Oh, you can't tell? So, anyway, so in the documentary, and She Could Be Next, there's a scene where, you know, I'm all stressed out, and because it's so close to the election, and I think I needed to raise a little bit of more money to stay on TV. And my brother Rashad goes to me, "What's wrong, sis?" You know, that's how he talks. "What's wrong, sis? You look stressed out." And I was like, "I am stressed out, Rashad. I got to raise like $100,000, and this is how long I have." And he looks at me, he goes, Did you call DJ Khaled? I told you to call DJ Khaled." And I'm like, "I am not calling DJ Khaled. Like, you call DJ Khaled. Like, what is wrong with you?" And it's funny, I didn't say all that, but you get friends of mine, and really, like, my best friend was like, I could see it on your face. Like, you know, the cameras were out there, and if the cameras weren't there, you would have been like reaming into them. But I was just like, "No, you should call." And then I like looked to my mom, and I was like, "Mama, I said, "Yeah, Ma, what are you gonna do to help me win?" And she goes, "I'm gonna pray to Allah." And I was like, "Okay, Ma," just to change the subject. Yeah, but my brother, even this election, he's like, "Call DJ Khaled," as if like, no offense to DJ Khaled, like as if DJ Khaled could, like, me and you helped raise over $3 million.
That's right.
$25 minimum donation. Over $3 million. No corporate dollars. And so I keep telling my brother, no, it just takes the grassroots work. You know, I don't need, you know, he's so funny. I think it's just he wants to talk to him or something. I don't know.
DJ Khaled should come through. I mean, this is community.
So this song became kind of like, and anyways, I find this song, and every time, you know, the team's like, oh, you know, there's another headline or attack ad against us. I mean, they spent so much money attacking us that I'd put this song on to get everybody like, you know, we're going to win. Yeah. And it was exciting.
So for a while, like, it got old to me, but now it's like a whole different meaning.
You know what I was doing? Every polling location I was going, I was getting my volunteers close. I was like, come on. And I put the music on. So there's some pictures of me like, and I got my opponents volunteers were like, you know, with your hands up.
That is hilarious. That is amazing.
Yeah.
A lot of people that were paid to help out your opposition, either we're saying they voted for you or they ended up switching out their votes in the end.
Yeah, I mean, the handful, my brother. Yeah, my brother somehow got my opponent's shirt. I'm not going to go there. He was being ridiculous. So one thing about being part of a big family is a lot of jokesters, a lot of pranks, a lot. But there's also, man, when we fight, we fight.
That's real.
But oh yeah. I mean, even around just injustices or strategy, or they think like if somebody does, a colleague of mine does something really outrageous, as if I can just like call and make them stop. My mom is always like, be careful, Rashida. In Arabic, she'll say, watch your back, stay out of his way. And I look at her, I'm like, Mama, what are you talking about? She's talking about Trump. And I was like, Mama, Trump is not walking in the halls of Congress. Like, he's not just walking around. And I was like, why am I going to get out of his way? I'm in Congress. I'm supposed to make him do his job. And she goes, no. Khalila Allah, just leave him to God, Mom. Mom, God's going to take care of him. I'm like, okay, Mom.
Tell to tie your camel. We have to tie a camel too. But I love her because she's like, that's where you get your Care Bear from. Like your Care Bear.
Yeah, she's compassionate. Yeah. She's a worry body. She's compassionate. Yeah. My mom is hilarious. She loves babies, as you can understand. And I said, Mama, like, why did you have so many kids? She goes, I don't know. When you guys started talking, I needed a new baby. Like, she just, she's like,
she didn't really want to talk to you.
Yeah, she's hilarious. But no, it's been fun. I mean, I think family who can probably break our hearts the worst are also sometimes can fuel us to work, to get up every day, make us laugh the most, the joy that comes with it. Yeah, my family are hilarious.
They're the ones that put us in our place too. Like, they're the ones that, like, they know how to, and then like anybody else, like, they don't know. But like, I agree. But I also feel like you create a culture on the campaign, but also like everywhere you go is this family culture, right? Like, I haven't gotten to meet a lot of the team, but virtually, like, there is this connection, and I think a lot of us, and I think you've enabled that culture, and it's so important because you come from movement and you're able to inject that into the halls of Congress and policy legislation, but really like interpersonal relationships on the ground. And I think people always ask how does Rashida make it? Like, and they're like, oh, she comes from where all the Arabs are in Dearborn. I'm like, no, that's actually not part of her district, right? Like, you built these real relationships on the ground, and I think that people want to hear about that. What is it about relationships, and how do you carry those relationships with you as you're pushing policy, but also when you're trying to uplift the most vulnerable? Yeah,
I mean, sometimes, Risha, I don't even think of them as relationships. It's the work I was doing prior to even ever running for office. I remember 2008 was when I first ran for State House, and I was going door to door. Yeah. And I remember this woman answer, she goes, "You look so familiar. Where have I seen you?" And I said, "Oh, I don't know. I work here. I'm a nonprofit lawyer. Like, I work on, and she goes, "That's where you were, in my church basement doing Know Your Rights for immigrants." And so, I think when people ask all the time, like, "Oh, what got you to where you're at?" They always think like as if maybe if I touch them or if I just talk to them, that poof, it's going to happen. I said, no. I said, run in the community that raised you, run in the community that you're connected to, because, even as I go door to door, I tell people, born and raised in Detroit, and they're like, really? And I got graduated from Southwestern High School, and that connection of like, oh my God, you are a Detroiter, or you went to Detroit public schools, or, as I went door to door, I found my old principal, two of my old teachers, former teachers who I stay connected to. Even Russia one time, the lady, you remember we used to call her the lunch lady, but she was the woman in the cafeteria. I mean, it was really great. Like, so it's that connection, that real connection in the work that, you're doing. You call it relationship, but I think it's just the movement work, the organizing work, showing up for for your community in other ways. Because even though I was working on, post 9/11 civil liberties, civil rights policy, working on comprehensive immigration reform, I don't know if you remember, it was Senator Kennedy and McCain, and it was really a huge push. There was protests all over the country for it. And I remember on the side, I would take time just because it was, ICE was just out of, it was new, and people don't realize like the community I was raised in Southwest.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we had never heard of it. We thought it was just kind of reorganization, but no, it was a completely separate unit. And, in Southwest Detroit is a border community. People don't realize like it literally is the border to Canada. People always think of the southern border. It was terrible because they were parking in the church parking lots on Wednesday night, which was, sometimes Bible study nights. Some of the restaurants where we call it Mexican Town, they would just, we're eating, because I reach out and say, hey, do carry out. You just don't leave your vehicle because people are not coming in. And the same thing with the church. The point is, it just made me think, okay, what do I do? What do I do? So then I just started doing Know Your Rights workshops and offering them and calling churches that I knew had like Spanish congregation. And I would have a friend of mine translate, and I just say, hey, if you ever get stopped, this is what you do. And so it was a lot of that, movement work. And I think so when I ran, people understood like the things that I stood up for prior to actually ever running. Because I had a young man, I think he was New Jersey, Russia. So like he called me and he wanted to run, and I said, great, so is this the community? Is this your community? And he goes, no, I moved here 4 years ago. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I just said, it's just going to be harder for you. I said, are you part of the, parent group? Are you, and again, it can't be transactional. It has to be real and genuine and like, because
relationship, right?
Yeah. But Russia, even like us, right? Right now, even if you became elected and one day you'll run, even if you do you stop what you're doing? No, I didn't stop. Like I'm still out there doing, people are like, oh my God, Rashida, I can't believe you got arrested for $15 minimum wage. And I was like, fight for 15. We've been fighting for 7 years. Yeah, I was like, I've always been out there. But now because I'm a congresswoman, it's like, oh my God, the congresswoman got arrested. It's like, have you not seen what I've done before?
Congresswoman's even used to you getting arrested now.
Yeah. My mom is always like, "Itti بتسوي لي مشاكل. Itti الوحيدة بتسوي لي مشاكل."
Good trouble, tell her. Good trouble.
Yeah, I know. She always says, it's funny, it's like typical Arab mom. She goes, you get that from your dad's side. She goes, Allah yarhamha, my Siti Shama, my dad's mom. She was fierce. Oh yeah, she was fierce. Her name is Shama, which I think means candle in Arabic, but she was more of a fireball. She was great. She didn't take no for an answer. She just, people always had Shama stories. If you ever, it's funny, I think my cousin Hayat, which you close to, Russia, Hayat says to me all the time, it's like your Siti Shama, but with like degrees and stuff. Like you have all those degrees and like, you you write op-eds and, like imagine if Siti could have wrote op-eds back in the day. And I'm like, oh God.
I would subscribe. I like it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
We are like, I think we don't realize, but a lot of like, we live through our ancestry, like in so many ways, right? Like, oh, can I just say something? So like, I'm from Florida. I'm born in New York. I don't claim my New York card, but like, I'm going to start claiming my Detroit cards because y'all have made me a whole nother level of hardcore. Like when the first
everybody thinks they're from New York.
Like what is that?
Oh yeah, no, the thing is though, like not everybody, but it's just very common, but not. I mean, I think parts of the city, but not all. And then it's generational. That's another thing. Yeah. I mean, I remember one of my seniors, she was great. She's a huge supporter. And I remember, the famous, impeach the MF. And she goes, what I loved is she said, I know. She said, Rashida, I don't talk like that. I don't say that. I wouldn't ever say that. And I said, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And that's all you have to do. And then at the end, she said, but when you said it, I felt more liberated. And I don't know why I got teary-eyed, because, you know, if that made her feel more freer, maybe it was worth it, right? So anyways, yeah.
But you all are like resilient. So I watched the Michael Jordan on documentary on Netflix, and there was a point about like the Detroit Pistons. I actually talked to like Denz and Tony about it. They're like, yeah. I'm like, yo, like, if I wish I didn't realize all the like the Detroit Pistons are like so hardcore back in the day. And I was like, yo, this is what it feels like to be on the campaign trail too, right? Like, it's like you go on the court and you bring everything with you, right? It's like, and I just remember watching that and I was like, yo, this is real. Like I felt it. So there is, you know, I a lot of times I always still want to claim you like, oh yeah, because she's resilient because she's Palestinian, but like learning more about just like the Detroit and the district is like really who raised you, right? And like that's a big piece of who you are.
But it's also the Palestinian roots, and you know, I said that you mixed up the Palestinian, you know, ancestry to the roots of Detroit, and like you have a warrior, you have someone. I mean, even the things that I learned from my CD Allah Rahama in Palestine of, you know, living under occupation and just the hardship, and he said no matter who you are, you should have a right to live. I mean, even now it resonates with everything happening in our country. And then, you know, I go to high school, and I remember freshman year of high school, Detroit Public Schools decided to get rid of all the regular U.S. history books and did African American history. And it just opened my lens, even just why, like, I was just like amazed. And then what I loved mostly is that most of my teachers were Black women who, you know, had experienced forms of oppression or saw it, like watched, you know, like Detroit Fire Department washed down like their uncle, or neighborhoods that are predominantly Black now, but they were not neighborhoods that Black families could live in. And just all of that to say, you know, you hear those stories, and then you think about, I thought of my CD. I thought about how he was shot because he didn't leave his land, how certain, you know, my uncles and my aunt, they couldn't go to whatever school they wanted to, or you know, basically freedom to travel. You know, they were literally caged up. It could not leave certain boundaries of the country. But it's just, you know, and you combine that growing up in you know, a city where every corner is a reminder of movement and fighting back. You know, I know you say like we're resilient, and it's funny, my friend Lauren Hood said, you know, she gets kind of tired when people say, well, resilient, we're strong. Yeah, but it gets to a point, it's like, yeah, but we're tired. You know,
and I think a lot of times it was like we spent a lot of time crying together, right? That's real. Like I was like, I'm not gonna go on the slide, and none of us are gonna cry, but it's, I think a big part of it is the vulnerability of it and feeling tired, the exhaustion. Because sometimes I feel numb. I do. Like, so like, what do you? I think, you know, you traveling with you, I got to see like what it is, like what is Rashida's love languages. Like, you like to read like love novels, right? Like you have like this romantic.
It's really cheesy, but you check out. Like, it's not political. It's not, you know, I love reading. Yeah, but then it's like you just need to check out.
And you just listen to your music.
I love Bollywood. I love Bollywood movies. Love them. I do.
They're a bit long, but yes, I love them.
Yeah, I even love the music stuff part where my kids are like, "Oh, mom, here we go." No, I love the storylines. They're very unpredictable. Some are, but you know, it's funny. My brother will kill me, but my brother Nader, who's a year younger than me, he's the one who got me into Bollywood movies. They're romantic. Yeah, he totally did.
But
he's trying to get me into French ones too, but I was like, so yeah, he likes a lot of foreign films. And
the Turkish show with my parents for the last several years, and now it's like in Turkish and like translated in Arabic so I'm trying to read Arabic, like I'm like, wait, Ma, she's like, shh, I'm like, tell me what's happening. but
I heard that's a big thing now, the Turkish movies. Like, yeah, are they like soap operas?
there's soap operas, there's dramas, but like, so I used to watch it like years ago, and I started watching it again with my parents. But I'm like, why am I putting myself through this? Like, my anxiety level, I'm like, they're either crying or dying, or like, I'm just like, yo, this is real. Someone is like cheating on someone, and I'm like, I can't. I already have like real life. So some of it's like, I need something that just like I can just totally disconnect from. But I think that what you brought up as far as just like, there's this pressure for Black women and brown women that like they're supposed to be resilient and they're supposed to like, you know, always push through. But like, I think that's real, like not having to power through. And like we talked about it earlier. So like, what do you say to that as far as like how to like for people to like just know how to show up for others and understand that like not putting that burden on each other?
I don't know, just like stop putting so much pressure, as if we're never all going to be perfect. I feel like sometimes we're in movement work, we're expected to be, you know, everything's supposed to be the right choice, you know, all those things. It's like, no, it's the right choice at that right moment. If that's what you felt. Like, I also really urge us to like let people feel what they feel at the moment, right? So even if you don't feel it and you don't think it's right, like shut your mouth and just let them feel it. That's what they feel. And it's like they don't want, sometimes I feel like, especially women of color, are not allowed to just be. And it's frustrating.
And
you know,
like,
I remember Ayana telling me that people said, oh, she doesn't smile enough. And I was like,
but Rashida, you're always gonna get, you don't smile enough, or you smile too much, or like it's just never gonna be enough, because people want to be able to pick at someone that, because you've been so consistent on just like how you show up for others. So people are trying to find other ways to come at you. And some of it is just like unreasonable and doesn't even make any sense. So like, if that's what they're going to come at you for, right? But like also, like, we got your back. And I know that it gets tiring and it's exhausting. I mean, I've been with you and I've seen like just the high level of security, the death threats, and it is scary. And I think people don't realize that like people like you and others literally put your bodies on the line, right? Like,
well, you were at that event, the M Gauge event, which was not like high security at all.
Den said, remember they made a big deal out of you smiling during impeachment.
Well, anyways, the M Gauge event, we were going in, and that person snuck in or something crazy like that. So I think that was one of your first events, and you're like, and I was like, that's never happened before, where somebody snuck in and just kind of like, I think I wasn't in the room just yet, but he was able to get a ticket and get in, and I don't think he had any weapons, which is good. But it was really scary that he could have gotten that close. Yeah.
We actually,
but no, it's funny when I was going to go vote on impeachment, you know, I go like this because it's the little button. I was like, hey y'all, I'm with my team. I'm on my way. We're going to go hold this president accountable. And I was smiling about it. Like, finally. And people are like, look at you. This is supposed to be a solemn day. This is supposed to be a sad day. And I was like, why is it sad to hold a bully and a lawless, you know, criminal-like president accountable? It should be a day of like rejoice, a day of finally, like, you know, no one is above the law. We're going to show you. And yeah, it may be sad for, but what's worse is the fact that this forever impeached president is still in office, right? He's still there, hurting so many people. And it's been really, you know, difficult because you know, people have these expectations of how you're supposed to be at the time. No, for me, I was like, finally, this is, you know, what my residents asked me to do is hold him accountable. And we finally were able to vote on impeaching him. It was a very, very, to me, you know, righteous moment, this moment of like, just like when we get that amendment passed, or, you know, finally the movement is picking up, we're joyful. And I find that you shouldn't tell me how I should feel. You know, people like, oh, make sure Rashida's not going to clap. You know, like, why not?
Don't they like approach?
Why not?
Like, Like kind of like our mom, like don't
Once.
speak too loud when we go to this person's
Once.
house.
So once they said, "Can you not be so happy about something?"
Can you not be so Rashida?
I said, okay, can I do sign language or something? I don't know. And something to just express myself. But no, I mean, I try to use it with some humor, but of course I don't let people control what I do or say. I think leadership and everybody's, understand. One thing I feel very blessed is I think a lot of them have accepted and know that I'm there for the right reasons, have expected the passion and this determination or one said tenacity to not go away, and that I'm going to be who I am. But I think they sense it's not ill intention. It's just who I am. So.
It's definitely not ill intention. And I think, a lot of times in this work, we don't always see the wins right away, right? Like the wins that we see sometimes takes years and years, and sometimes it's not as clear and measurable. So when you have something like that, it's important to crack a smile. I think it's cracking a smile for like one step closer towards like freedom and liberation for people in this work. So a lot of people I think are asking like how people can support you now still. I would say donate, but like I think a lot of what you do is, you want company, you want more company, the squad is like so big, but we want more people. So like, we want people to support people that are unconditional in this work, but also we are doing things like campaign schools that you see Den's might be still on the live, and we're going to be doing a lot of training, because I think a lot of I want to say real quick how I met you was back when I was 18.
You're doing AmeriCorps. I think it was AmeriCorps.
I got AmeriCorps when I was training in Detroit. You were one of the speakers, and I was like, "Who is this Palestinian? Like, she's gold." And then I think I
was still in law school. I might have still been in law school. Yeah.
There, and then I had my first fundraiser for you when you were running for State House for the first time. So like, you've always been a friend, a sister, and a mentee. But like, my point is like, you were like so busy, but you still found time every time to like train others. So a big part of that is you're going to be doing leadership, like making sure that that's still happening on the ground. So what do people have to look forward to that?
Yeah, no, I mean, so one of the things to do is making sure we have a lot of partners on the local and state level. So we've been, like, for instance, we really want to make sure that we have some folks that can hold Detroit Police Department accountable on a police commission. So trying to find folks that'll be willing to, to be there. I mean, so like, this, Russia, because the requests always go through you, but like, a lot of my legal observers here now need, protective equipment, like for their headgear. They're thinking about all this stuff because a legal observer 2 Saturdays ago was attacked by Detroit Police Department. I think and they were tear gassed, just targeted. And so, trying to raise money for movement work, one of the things that we're really, really focused on is making sure the 13 districts turnout is high. So we were up 20% or 21%, I think, increase in turnout, which is huge for my district, which is third poorest congressional district, very challenged. But we made sure to have a much bigger universe of people that we're talking to versus the same people over and over again. And we're not relying on any presidential campaigns or any other folks. We're doing it ourselves. So, some of my folks that are continuing to donate to me know that it's because we have permanent field folks until November. And we're going to do wellness check-ins. One of the things that I love about our team is, turning a lot of the field organizers into social workers, but, they're calling and saying like, how are you? What do you need? But they're also saying, hey, these are the drop boxes near your house where you can drop off your ballot. This is where you can get a ballot. I think it's those kind of, basics that we're not, a lot of campaigns are all like about persuade, please vote for me. It's like, but there's so many people that already are going to vote for you, but you're not giving them the information of how to vote for you, right? How do they actually go and get their ballot? what's the deadlines, where do they go, even as simple as, do I need a stamp for my ballot envelope? I'm now more than ever, because I experience it myself. They check those signatures on the outside of the ballot to match the signature. Like, you can't even remember what your signature was when you registered to vote, but to try to, be consistent about that. It's just a number of things like that. But Russia, that's what I'm most fearful of, is people want to vote. They want to get out there. They just don't know where or how or when. You'd be surprised how many people still need to be reminded the date of the election. And this is not their fault. Like, this is the fact that we're in a society where,
right.
Yeah. But it's also part of like this culture that, a lot of these candidates, a lot of these campaigns are in this little bubble. And they're not, no, like these, I'm telling you, these 18-year-old new voters that like, Rashida, we love you, we want to vote for you. Like, how do we do it? Those are the ones we're not talking to. We're focusing on obviously the senior votes and all that. Great. But you want to win, then you got to focus on turnout. You have to.
Know about
turnout. But it can't be just voting. It has to be vote plus. Like, want you to vote, but we also want you the day after to hold us accountable. I keep telling people, don't just vote and like assume. You better call. You can tell me what's up, what's going on, what you need. Push us.
Yeah, and I think
I know there's a lot of questions. Did you get more? I mean, I didn't even realize how many. Somebody said about Indigenous community. I always remembered the Indigenous community. Oh, there's a lot of hate stuff, but that's okay. Right?
Don't read some of them, but there's a question.
I know, I'm not.
There's someone that asked about like how do you deal with like anti-Palestinian rhetoric?
Oh.
It's also we're also living in a time where there's not like candidates are winning with that, right? And I think Cori Bush is an example. So,
I think it's because Cori, myself, Jamal, all of us. I mean, we truly believe everyone should be free of oppression. We don't believe anybody. The thing is, Israel's policies are racist, and like acknowledging that, right? Like, that's being fair. Like, why would we want to promote this form of like othering when we're over here fighting for Black lives, we're fighting for equality, we're fighting for LGBTQ community, we're fighting for all this. But then when we look at places, especially countries like Israel, where we, our funding is such a high rate, but we're not saying, hey, both Israelis, Palestinians deserve the right to coexist. They deserve equality. They deserve justice. They don't deserve this form of oppressive policies. So the way, I have always pushed back. I can tell you, various things I tweet, colleague would come up. One particular colleague came up and said, hey, I didn't like your tweet about Ethiopian Israelis. It was a particularly Israeli that was, I think he might have been at a mall or something, got, really just brutally abused, like beat up by Israeli police. And I think it might have been IDF. The point is, he was so upset that I said Ethiopian Israeli. And I said, oh, would you rather me say Black Israeli? Sure. And he goes, well, I also think you don't understand the history. And this is very common. If you're Palestinian and some of the opposition will come up to you, and the first things they'll say to you is, you don't understand the history. And I said, yes, I do. I've lived it. My ancestors have lived it. Some were killed. So I totally, fully understand it. But he was trying to explain to me that Ethiopians were, persecuted and targeted in their native country, and they came to Israel. I said, that's great. Doesn't mean we get to beat them up. We freed Black folks from slavery. Doesn't mean we get to go out and murder them and kill them and dehumanize and so forth. And I feel the same way, so I deal with it in a way where I push back against this thing where, a lot of colleagues and those folks that are supporting Black Lives Matter, or supporting equality, or supporting LGBTQ rights, or supporting all these things. But when it comes to this issue, all of a sudden their thinking is different. And I challenge that so much and saying, how is it different? How is it different when you're saying because someone's a certain ethnicity or certain faith, they don't deserve equality, they don't deserve human dignity? I said, my grandmother didn't do anything to anybody. Like, my grandmother deserves to die with human dignity, deserves to coexist, deserves to feel heard and seen and not othered for, based on these racist policies. And so it is hard to continue pushing back. But all I could do is speak the truth And, I'll get attacked. I mean, look, we're going to do this. I'll probably get some headline that says Rashida said this, policing me, trying to make it more than, what it was, which is the truth is the matter is these policies are hurting people and they're killing innocent children. And it's, it's something that we can't just keep looking away and saying it's okay. And
Right.
I feel awful. Like I know from Nelson Mandela to so many of these incredible leaders and that were among us in this world who stood up for Palestinian rights was vilified. And I think we're tired of it. We're done. Stop it. Like, we're done.
We're drawing a line in the sand, right? Like either
we're done.
Working towards liberation and freedom for all people or you're not. It's just, there's no more performative activism, no, right? That's, people are seeing through it. People are seeing through the BS. And I think that's important. And I think that's why so many people support you, Rashida, and like Allah yahmiki, for real, Allah protect you.
Oh, thanks, Habibti.
I didn't want to, I waited a little bit because I was like, I need her to rest. Like I had a whole conversation with Amanda. She good. And I know Amanda's even more protective too about it. So I'm like, you know what? But just know, like, you have...
it's because I appreciate you. And I think, so many folks see this external thing, especially with my sisters and my sisters in service and and this, it hasn't been easy to be like the punching bags, the targets. Mm-hmm. But we feed off each other. Like sometimes one's down and then the other three will like, let's do this. And then, but I'll tell you, my conversation with Cori Bush was inspiring.
Can you share?
I'm like, so just that, what I loved is, I reached out to congratulate her and I said, I'm here for you. We're going to have our teams meet. But I told her, I said, Cori, there's going to be folks that tell you this is how you're supposed to do it. But I said, I started 4 neighborhood service centers and this is what we do at the service center. She goes, I love that. And I was like, yeah, I said, this is how we show people they matter, use the power of the letterhead, getting them the services they need. I said, Cori, it's going to take us a while to pass Medicare for all. It's going to take us a while to get the Green New Deal. I know we're tired of waiting and we're going to keep pushing. But I said, our folks, they can't wait any longer. So if we can write on our letterhead, and I've done this before, to a company that doesn't fully cover or their insurance doesn't fully cover insulin, the cost of insulin, then let's call them out on it, right? Let's ask them to change that. And so we can try to push to change people's lives for the better using our positions and trying to elevate that versus, again, having our residents consistently wait. I hate telling my residents, well, if we pass Medicare for all, then maybe prescription drugs will be affordable. Maybe we'll have long-term care. And I'm like, no, if you want long-term care, let me go fight for it. Let me see if somebody will change their policy or somehow I can get it covered, whatever it is. But it's that social work. It's that like getting people through everyday challenges that I think have to go hand in hand with policy work. And I can see that she was inspired by it. And I was like, good, like this is going to be a partner that I can definitely work with.
Like, you come from the movement world. So for us, like activists, it's like, yes, like real, like movement people and like people that have mobilized protests and have been on the forefront and continue to be a part of that. One thing, a big conversation that I am having with a lot of people is, just considering this COVID world and like how it's, disproportionately impacting Black communities, but also how people are showing up at protests. People are feeling tired. I know here in Orlando, the police are targeting protesters and like, so we're just trying to find, everything, the NBA strike and then this whole thing about just like a GOTV push. And so people are feeling disenchanted sometimes and tired. Like, what do you say to people protesting for like Black lives and
I don't think they realize. So sometimes I reminded folks on Saturday in Detroit, I was marching, March for Justice with Perfecting Church and Pastor Winans and so many other folks and pastors in Detroit and my incredible neighbors. We were marching down, historic Woodward Avenue in Detroit. And at the end, I just told them, I know sometimes you think it doesn't matter when you march and you protest, but it does, because I could have never imagined in the United States House of Representatives that a Republican colleagues joined us in getting rid of qualified immunity. And I don't think that would have been possible. I don't think people realized that when they marched, that's when George Floyd's murder murderers were, charged, right? Every time we marched, and then we finally saw movement. And, transformative change really doesn't happen from the Oval Office or in the Capitol building. It really happens in the streets, and it reaches into the Capitol building. And I know it doesn't move with the sense of urgency that you were hoping, but honestly, from civil rights to the labor rights, to all these movements, it didn't happen because of a Congress member or because of, who was president. It really truly happened at that moment because people in the streets demanded it. So believe in it. Again, I never thought, my colleagues never thought that we would ever be voting in a bipartisan way, even if it's a little margin of bipartisanship, that we'd get rid of qualified immunity for police.
That's real.
Yeah.
I do want to say that a lot of people have questions. But
I know.
There's the obvious question about the presidential election. There's so there's just a few questions in there, but I know that it's also 12:20, and I'm sure Amanda will be like, "Hello, we need to get up to the next place." But
I did get on late. So, but look, I think everybody knows this. I think Cori Bush said it. She's like, march, protest, strike, vote. Not voting isn't an option. However, just know this. I know for many of my neighbors, my movement folks, they're voting against Trump and the hate agenda. But the protests, the work is not going to stop with whoever's in the White House, right? But one thing we have to get rid of is this white supremacist in the White House. Understand that it's leading to so much violence and pain and oppression that, even the folks are like, want it those desperately to stop. And this is not black versus white. This is black versus racists. This is, everybody else, white versus racist. People that don't truly believe that we all belong, that, one of the most painful things after I got elected is feeling this sense of rejection, not from the people that raised me, the community that voted for me and believed in me, but this wave of hate, this wave of like violent hate towards me, of just my mere existence, Russia. I cried. I was overwhelmed. Yes, they didn't physically punch me in the gut. They didn't physically harm me or scratch my face or whatever it was, but it felt I felt so violated. So, it was so painful. And that's what I feel like with every policy that comes out of this hate agenda from the White House. We got to push back. We just have to. And I know this is not perfect. You guys all know who I wanted to be our president. But one thing I know this is we can't have another hour, another minute, another day of Donald Trump's administration or this, movement towards this division in our country. We can't. And it doesn't mean after it's done that I'm not going to stop fighting for all of those policies. I don't care if it's a D next, absolutely not. We're going to continue fighting.
No matter who's in the White House.
That's right. So that's just real talk to all of y'all. Like, just know that I know it's very hard and it, trust me, I don't want to ever demean or take granted the vote. But if there was to way to think about this vote is getting rid of something that is very painful right now for our country, and that's just wrong. If anything, just channel that.
Yeah.
Thanks so much, Russia. I appreciate you.
A lot of the Muslim community, but also the Arab community, specifically the Palestinian community, we continue to get thrown under the bus. So it's something I think a lot of people, and I would just say, let this be a lesson to people that you can't win with leaving people behind. And it's a mess, right? So there's a burden for our community, and I think that let people earn your vote, right? And also just vote, right? And then, but understanding it's a piece of, it's a small piece.
I'm not saying just vote. I'm saying understand this part of movement. And if there's something that we want movement to have, we continue the movement work, the uprising will continue. Let's just get rid of the white supremacists in the White House. Zero focused. Get rid of them. We still fight in the streets, and we still push a Biden-Harris administration to finally looking at things that truly acknowledge how we can show that Black lives do matter in our country.
Yeah. Woo!
Yay.
Woo!
Thanks, Rush. So
No,
last thing, every time I'm talking to Russia at the airport or anywhere, people think I'm talking to the country. So imagine that your finance director, I'm like, hey, Russia. And they're like, who? Where's she Italian to? I'm like, she's a person. It's a person.
it's a person, I swear. I crack up every time.
Because even if I say it Arabic-wise, Russia, it don't matter, dude. Everybody's like, what is that congresswoman talking to?
Hey, I would love to see that headline, though. You know,
I'm like, wrong elected person. Look at the Oval Office.
But I put a Google alert on you at some point in the campaign, and like,
yeah, bad idea. Yeah.
Yo, I thought my Google alert. Your Google alert is a whole.
I don't even look at it anymore. I have a Google alert, but I don't even look at it anymore. It's too much. It's made up stuff. Do you know? It's made up stuff. Like they said, oh, Rashida Tlaib's in court trying to get rid of this or that in the classroom. I'm like, what are you talking about? I have American flags all over my office. Like, what are you talking about? And like, we actually had to go like call residents back because they were really concerned about it. And we're like, no, Rashida doesn't. That's not tangible change. I'm trying to, like, that's not something I would do. And I mean, I was like, no, but I am trying to have more investment in communities and trying to end poverty and all these other things. So anyways, it was so good talking to you. Hopefully you got to come to Detroit so we can celebrate.
Inshallah. You know, I'm at this whole, like, it's made me miss you so much, and it's just like, I don't know. Yesterday I was like, Ma, I need to make tomato juice so I can feel I'm on the airplane. I'm like, I just need 3 pounds of tomato, and she's like,
yeah, that's so. I don't know why this. I don't know. It sounds so great. I can't believe you drink that on the airplane. It's just a probably a tradition of yours. When you got it last time, I was like, why is she getting tomato juice?
But I hope that you could be like a frequent guest of Unbought Power Hour, and if you could just close us out on what it means to you to be unbought, and then we can let you be on this Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, we should get Corey. Corey would love it. I'll talk to her. That'd be nice. Yeah. Or we can get like how many people can you get on IG Live? I don't even know.
I don't know, but
I'm not very techie.
Do a Zoom. We can always go back to Zoom, but I feel like we zoomed out.
Oh yeah. I am tired of it all. So, all right, everyone. Peace.
Wait, tell them what it means to be unbought, and then you can go.
Oh, that's your is that your like niche?
No,
I mean, what does it mean to be unbought? Free to do whatever the heck is important to my district, to my community, to be able to make sure everybody has the right to thrive. To be unbought, yeah, it's complete liberation. Complete liberation. So,
I love you.
Love you too. Take care.
Bye, y'all.
Yeah, back to work tomorrow. All right, take care. Bye.